He's going to be speaking for 9 to 11 minutes. And as an introduction, for every meeting of any organization, you should first know the purpose of the meeting. Then, how is the meeting organized and what the roles are? What are the authorities and responsibilities of each role? Steve's talk will cover the high points for Toastmaster meeting roles. The handout that I provided to our viewers at home in the chat will help describe these official descriptions in more detail. Take it away, Steve.
I'd like to ask, think of all the meetings that you attend, work, church, civic groups, Toastmasters. What fraction are well planned? Now think through all those meetings, what fraction of all those meetings are well implemented? And finally, what fraction are followed up well? People follow up on action items or distribute information, whatever has to happen after a meeting. I found during my days in the work environment, those fractions were not really very good. Well, every Toastmaster meeting is not only a chance to practice our speaking skills, our evaluation skills, our listening skills, but also our meeting skills. Now, Toastmasters has put together a lot of information on the different roles in a typical Toastmaster meeting. I've extracted all that information, put it in a single file, and that's what our Toastmaster for the evening has distributed on chat. I also put it out to the members of the club ahead of time. This is the official information, no mendacity involved, of all that needs to be known about being a Toastmaster, being an evaluator, being General Evaluator. Well, I'm not going to go through all those pages tonight. You've got those handouts. I'm going to talk about 5 key roles, 2 of which are actually not in the official sets of information on meeting roles. So first of these 5 roles is the presiding officer. Now in Toastmasters, we have a sequence of the 7 club officers. So that if the first is not available, the second is the presiding officer, so forth and so on. Everywhere in the world, the presiding officer sequence is president, vice president of education, vice president of membership, vice president of public relations, secretary, treasurer, and sergeant at arms. So as long as one of those 7 officers is available at a given meeting, you have a presiding officer. Whoever is that presiding officer is going to have stage time. In our club, our president opens the meeting, or whoever the presiding officer is. So they help set the stage, set the tone, set the energy level of a meeting. Not all clubs start the same way, but the presiding officer always has at least some stage time. The other thing the presiding officer has to do is deal with any business, typically at the end of the meeting, so that the president or presiding officer and the meeting Toastmaster have to be coordinating so that if the business at the end of the meeting is going to be more than just here's what's happening next week, that there is time set aside on the schedule for whatever the presiding officer needs to get done at the end of the meeting so that everybody doesn't scramble off to their next meeting or drive home or whatever they have to do, because the business of the club or any other organization needs to get dealt with. Second role is the meeting Toastmaster. The success of a meeting, more than any other person, comes down to the meeting Toastmaster. In our club, most clubs, the meeting Toastmaster selects the theme. Jess has done that for us this evening. Also creates the agenda. And that means bird dogging. If the speakers haven't responded to the Toastmaster, if they're going to speak, what does the Toastmaster do? Bird dog. They pester them. They grab that speaker. Seriously, it's an opportunity to speak, and we want the speaker to be a success. So the meeting Toastmaster works with the speakers, finds out that they are going to be available, their time, what project they're working on, how they want to be introduced, which Jess did on my behalf. Have the introductions so that when the meeting Toastmaster gets to each prepared speaker, you don't have to go through a bunch of papers or check your phone and everything else. What I like to do when I'm the meeting Toastmaster is I print it out in large font. That's because I have 65-year-old eyes. And I trust those eyes much better if it's at font 16 or 18 rather than 11 or 12. So I always print it out and make sure I have it with me. The meeting Toastmaster is also responsible for dealing with any disruptions and making sure we stay on time. Meeting Toastmaster, therefore, has to give a funny sign to the Topics Master or the General Evaluator or anybody else, speed it up, move it on, in one way, shape, or form, keep us moving and on schedule. Third main role of a Toastmaster meeting is the Topics Master. The Topic Master's job is, of course, to give topics and then pick someone to respond to a given topic. What the Topic Master needs to do in general is coordinate with the theme of the meeting, if at all possible. But the single most important thing is not to talk very much. The topics need to be quick, understandable. Job of the Topics Master is to give that topic, get off the stage so that the topic responder takes most of the time. The objective is therefore, keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving, get those victims, topic responders, moving and responding. You want to call on guests, but only after at least one person in the club has had a chance to do a table topic, so that a guest has a chance to see what in the world is going on. The General Evaluator, the fourth main role in a meeting, that person does the coordination of all the evaluations of the speakers, the evaluations of time, grammarian, listening, and so forth. They're also matchmakers. General Evaluator needs to look at all the evaluators available for a meeting, work with the Toastmaster, find out who is speaking, and then match the evaluators to the speakers. Little hint, if the speaker is doing a project that one of the evaluators has done, that's probably a good match. New Toastmaster, you probably want to have a very experienced evaluator so that they can look a little deeper and they're a little more polished and constructive in their comments. And finally, the General Evaluator is the protector of the club and of the speakers. If one of the evaluators, it's rare, but it does happen, if one of the evaluators is just a little harsh, the General Evaluator speaks after each evaluation and can say, well, that was a little off base, or however necessary, to bring the spirits of the speaker and of the club back up. And the fifth key role of a meeting for all clubs that are meeting online or hybrid, on-site, online, or as I like to say, Zoom and room. The Zoom master or Teams master or whatever your software is has to be the person that makes all the equipment operate in whatever room is being used for the meeting. I'm finding that Toastmaster clubs that have been jumping into hybrid meetings, they're finding problems, sometimes again and again, but they're getting better. And I had a data point today. In September, I will be giving a talk at the Project Management Institute in Idaho Falls is hosting Professional Development Day. We had an organizational meeting at 4 o'clock. Guess what? All these project managers, they're not ready. They're not ready to do a hybrid meeting. You can tell when they don't really know what questions to ask, let alone what the answers are. So being Zoom Master is not necessarily your idea of fun, but it is a way to learn skills that you're going to use next month, next year, 3 years, somewhere down the road. You'll use Zoom Master skills. You may not know when and where, but you will. That's the world that we are going to be living in. So these are some of the key roles in a Toastmaster meeting. The handout is out there, and I encourage you to look at that information so that every time, every meeting in Toastmasters, we're learning skills, we're learning how to give better meetings for ourselves and our guests and for our organization. Madam Toastmaster, back to you.